Gentlemen, what if I told you that every interaction you have with a woman is a psychological dance? A game of unspoken signals, unconscious triggers, and emotional power shifts? You see, most men lose before they even begin. Why? Because they come from a place of need, not power. From desire, not dominance. They don't understand that attraction isn't just about looks or words, it's about control. Not control over her, but control over yourself. This is where dark psychology comes in. Not as a weapon to hurt her, but as a tool to unlock her deepest attraction triggers. The ones she doesn't even realize she has. Dark psychology isn't about being evil. It's about mastering the hidden laws of influence, persuasion, and psychological magnetism. And when used ethically, it can make her chase you, desire you, and obsess over you. Let me break this down for you. First, scarcity. People want what they think they can't have. Most guys are too available. They text too much, call too often, and reveal everything. But when you become scarce, when you pull back, you activate her fear of loss. That fear creates desire. And desire creates action. Second, mystery. Never show all your cards. A man who can be read like a book becomes boring fast. Let her wonder where you are, what you're thinking, what your intentions are. Curiosity is a drug. And she'll keep coming back for the next hit. Third, mirroring. One of the most powerful tools in dark psychology is the ability to mirror her emotions, her energy, her language. Why? Because people are attracted to what feels familiar. Subtly reflect her words, her values, her vibe, and she'll feel deeply connected to you, even if she can't explain why. Fourth, emotional triggering. This is the art of anchoring your presence to a powerful emotion. Make her laugh, make her feel seen, make her feel alive. And every time she thinks of that feeling, she thinks of you. Fifth, push-pull dynamics. Give her affection, then pull it back. Compliment her, then go cold. Not to play games, but to create emotional tension. And tension, my friend, is the mother of attraction. Lastly, self-possession. The most attractive thing you can do is be completely rooted in your own energy. Unshakable. Unbothered. You don't chase, because you know you're the prize. She doesn't want a man who needs her. She wants a man who can walk away. That's power. And that's what makes her want you more than anyone else. So, if you're going to use dark psychology, use it not to manipulate, but to magnetize. Not to control her, but to master yourself so fully she can't help but be drawn to you. That's how you become the man she can't stop thinking about. That's how you become the one she wants, even if she doesn't know why. Scarcity increases desire because human psychology is wired to value what is limited. From the time we're children, we're taught that the things which are rare, diamonds, elite clubs, VIP access, are more valuable. This instinct carries over into dating and relationships in powerful, often unconscious ways. When a man is always available, always texting, always showing up at her call, he sends the message that his time, energy, and presence are easy to obtain. And what is easy to obtain is easy to forget. But when a man is elusive, when his attention must be earned, when his time feels like a reward instead of a given, suddenly, he becomes more attractive. Scarcity creates a psychological tension inside a woman's mind. She begins to wonder where you are, who you're with, and why you're not chasing her like every other man. And that wondering becomes obsession. She checks her phone more often. She reads into your messages. She rewatches your stories. Not because you did something manipulative, but because you mastered the art of restraint. When you give someone space to miss you, you give them space to desire you. You allow their imagination to run wild, and the imagination is often more powerful than reality. The brain interprets scarcity as a sign of higher value. If something is scarce, it must be in demand. If your attention is limited, she assumes others are competing for it. This triggers competitive behavior, even if she's not fully aware of it. She starts to invest more, to reach out first, to prove herself. And in that process, her emotional involvement deepens. She goes from casually interested to personally invested, simply because you didn't hand yourself over on a silver platter. Most men operate in the exact opposite way. The moment a woman shows any interest, they rush in. They flood her with attention. They cancel plans. They reply instantly. In doing so, they eliminate the mystery and the chase. They hand over their power in exchange for a moment of validation. But attraction isn't built through validation. It's built through contrast. It's built through the moments when she doesn't hear from you and starts to crave your presence again. That craving is the very essence of desire. Scarcity is not about playing games. It's not about ghosting or being toxic. It's about prioritizing yourself in a way that naturally creates space. It's about not making her the center of your world. It's about having your own goals, your own grind, your own mission. When you're genuinely busy improving yourself, you don't have time to constantly be at her feet. And that's exactly what makes her take you more seriously. She starts to see you as a man of purpose, a man with options, a man who isn't afraid to walk away if she doesn't rise to your standards. This approach taps into her emotional instincts. Women are drawn to men they respect. And they respect men who value themselves. When your time is scarce, it forces her to consider how she fits into your life, instead of assuming she can have you whenever she wants. This shifts the dynamic. You're no longer chasing her, she's calibrating her behavior to attract you. She's thinking about what she needs to do to keep your attention. She becomes more present, more engaging, more intentional. Scarcity also makes every interaction more meaningful. If she only sees you once or twice a week, those moments become something she looks forward to. They're no longer routine, they're special. And special experiences are what people remember. They form emotional associations. They build attachment. When you're always available, you become background noise. When you're selective, you become an event. And here's the deeper truth, scarcity isn't just about your availability to her. It's about your emotional energy. If you're constantly trying to impress, constantly trying to win her over, you're projecting emotional abundance in the wrong direction. But when you hold back, when you don't over-explain, when you don't always reveal what you're thinking, when you leave her wondering, you project scarcity in your emotional expression. That subtle withholding makes her lean in. She wants to know more. She wants to unlock you. And the more she tries, the more invested she becomes. Scarcity also protects your energy. Not every woman deserves full access to you. Not every person is worthy of your time, your focus, your emotional bandwidth. When you operate from a place of scarcity, not as a tactic, but as a truth, you filter out the women who aren't serious. You stop entertaining low-effort behavior. You attract those who are willing to show up and match your standard. And that alone makes you 10 times more attractive than any man who throws himself at every opportunity. The scarcity mindset changes how you walk, how you talk, how you respond. You stop feeling the need to constantly explain yourself. You stop seeking approval. You stop trying to be liked. Instead, you become the man who is already enough, and that belief, that posture, that inner frame is magnetic. She feels it in your presence. She notices it in your silences. And she responds to it, even if she can't explain why. Ultimately, when a woman senses that she can't have you on demand, she starts to want you on instinct. Scarcity isn't the enemy of connection, it's the fire that fuels it. It builds tension. It creates chase. It forces her to value your presence, and once she values you, desire follows. Not because you manipulated her, but because you respected yourself. And that is the real power of scarcity. Mystery is one of the most powerful tools in human attraction. It taps into something deep within us, a primal instinct to uncover what's hidden, to solve a puzzle, to get closer to what we don't fully understand. It's a key ingredient that keeps the spark alive in any relationship or attraction. But most men fail to understand its potency. They reveal too much, too soon, giving everything away on a platter, and in doing so, they inadvertently remove the very thing that could make them irresistible: mystery. The truth is, when everything is laid bare, when you're easily understood and predictable, there's little left for her to discover. You become like a book she's already read, a movie she's already watched. There's no reason for her to keep coming back for more, because she already knows the ending. But when you create mystery around your thoughts, your intentions, and your life, you keep her engaged, curious, and longing for more. This doesn't mean playing games or being dishonest. It's about creating an aura of intrigue that makes her want to figure you out, to uncover your layers, and to dive deeper into who you truly are. Think about it this way: human beings are wired to solve problems. From the earliest days of our existence, survival depended on our ability to solve mysteries, whether it was finding food, understanding our environment, or even deciphering the behaviors of others. This innate drive to unravel the unknown is still with us today. And this is precisely why mystery is such a powerful tool in attraction. When you leave pieces of yourself hidden, when you don't give everything away in your first few interactions, you're essentially giving her a challenge. You're providing her with an opportunity to invest emotionally, to try to figure you out, and to see what lies beneath the surface. It's important to recognize that this doesn't mean being distant or closed off. It's not about being aloof or playing hard to get. Instead, it's about revealing just enough to pique her curiosity while holding back the full picture. For instance, instead of revealing everything about your past relationships, your career ambitions, or your family dynamics right away, you offer small glimpses, just enough to keep her intrigued. These glimpses are like breadcrumbs, guiding her through the maze of your personality without giving away the entire map. The more she tries to piece together the puzzle, the more emotionally invested she becomes. The key here is subtlety. You don't want to create mystery by becoming a complete enigma or by leaving her constantly guessing about who you are or what you want. That can backfire. Instead, you want to create the kind of mystery that allows her to explore the depths of who you are in a way that feels natural, not forced. It's about making her feel like she's peeling back layers, but with each layer, there's more to uncover, more to explore. This keeps the emotional connection alive and makes her feel like she's constantly discovering something new about you. Mystery also plays into the idea of unpredictability. When you're too predictable, you become boring. People crave novelty, surprise, and excitement in their lives, especially when it comes to relationships. If she knows exactly how you'll respond to every text, every invitation, or every gesture, the thrill begins to fade. But when you mix things up, when you're a little unpredictable, maybe you don't always text back right away, maybe you introduce a new interest or passion into the conversation, or maybe you throw in a surprise that she didn't see coming, this unpredictability draws her in. It makes her anticipate your next move, and it keeps her on her toes, emotionally engaged, and excited about what's to come. Part of the power of mystery is that it allows you to set the pace. It prevents you from rushing into things too quickly. Instead of bombarding her with constant messages, compliments, or affirmations, you create space. This space allows her to miss you, to think about you when you're not around, and to wonder what you're up to. This distance, when used effectively, can spark desire. People often take things for granted when they're easily accessible. But when there's a gap, a little bit of distance, it triggers a longing. And longing is the foundation of desire. The more she wonders where you are or what you're doing, the more she starts to realize how much she wants to know more about you. That's the emotional fuel that keeps the attraction burning. Mystery also plays a role in emotional depth. When you're an open book right from the start, she may appreciate your transparency, but she may also feel like she's already gotten everything she needs to know about you. There's no emotional challenge. But when you leave some things unsaid, when you don't fully reveal your hand right away, it creates a sense of emotional depth that makes her feel like there's more to you than meets the eye. This depth is alluring. It's the idea that she's only scratched the surface of who you are, and there's so much more waiting to be uncovered. And this emotional depth creates a desire for intimacy that is built on a deeper connection. It's not just about being mysterious with your words, though. Your actions and behavior play a huge role in creating intrigue as well. The way you carry yourself, the way you respond in different situations, the way you maintain your own sense of independence, these are all elements of mystery that intrigue her. When you're emotionally self-sufficient, when you're not always looking to her for validation or attention, it creates a sense of emotional independence that is magnetic. You're not needy or desperate for her approval. Instead, you're someone who has his own life, his own interests, and his own goals. This creates an aura of confidence that is rooted in mystery. She'll want to know what drives you, what excites you, and what makes you tick. And the more she wonders, the more she'll want to be a part of your world. Ultimately, mystery is about balance. It's not about being secretive or deceptive. It's about allowing her to explore who you are in a way that feels organic and exciting. It's about giving her just enough to keep her coming back for more while maintaining the emotional space that makes her desire you. When used wisely, mystery creates intrigue, and intrigue creates desire. And that's the secret that keeps her wanting to know more about you, to invest more emotionally, and to chase after something she can't fully understand yet, but is determined to figure out. Mirroring is one of the most subtle yet powerful techniques in the realm of human connection. It operates at the level of unconscious behavior, and often, we don't even realize it's happening. But when used consciously, mirroring can dramatically enhance how someone perceives you, creating a psychological bond that can feel almost magnetic. It's a tool that plays on our innate need for social connection and validation. When we encounter someone who mirrors our own actions, speech, or emotions, it creates a sense of familiarity, comfort, and rapport. We subconsciously interpret this as a sign of similarity, and similarity breeds attraction. At its core, mirroring is about reflecting another person's actions, gestures, tone, or language in a way that feels natural and effortless. This doesn't mean mimicking them in an exaggerated or robotic manner. It's not about copying everything they do but instead subtly aligning yourself with their behavior and emotional state. For instance, if she speaks softly or uses hand gestures while talking, you might subtly adjust your tone or begin to use your own hands in a similar way. If she leans forward while speaking, you might do the same. These small adjustments create an unspoken harmony between the two of you. It makes her feel like you're in sync, like you get her, which fosters trust and connection. One of the key reasons mirroring is so effective is because it taps into a deep psychological principle known as the liking principle. People are generally drawn to those who are similar to them. We tend to gravitate toward people who make us feel comfortable, who seem to share our values, and who express emotions in a similar manner to our own. When we mirror someone's behavior, we trigger this subconscious principle, creating an immediate sense of rapport. The more we seem to be on the same wavelength, the more likely she is to feel an emotional connection with us. But mirroring isn't just about matching someone's physical actions. It extends to the emotional and verbal level as well. If she's expressing excitement, enthusiasm, or passion about a topic, mirroring her emotional energy by responding in kind can deepen the connection. If she's speaking about something personal or vulnerable, your responses, whether they're verbal or nonverbal, can reflect a shared understanding, showing empathy and reinforcing that emotional bond. This emotional mirroring helps her feel heard, seen, and validated, and these are the foundations of any strong, lasting connection. On a deeper psychological level, mirroring also plays into the concept of nonverbal communication. A significant portion of human interaction happens through body language, tone, and subtle cues. Our bodies are constantly sending signals, often without us even realizing it. Mirroring those nonverbal cues creates a silent language of connection. When someone mirrors your movements or gestures, it's as if they are subconsciously saying, "I understand you, and I'm attuned to your emotions." This subtle act signals to her that you're not just hearing her words, but you're actively engaging with her on a deeper level. You're responding to her emotional state, and in doing so, you create an emotional resonance that makes her feel more comfortable and more connected to you. In social psychology, mirroring has been shown to increase the likelihood of forming friendships, business deals, and even romantic relationships. The principle of liking works because it's part of our evolutionary wiring. From a survival standpoint, Being able to align with those around us and form alliances with people who are similar to us increases our chances of success and safety. That's why we are hardwired to feel more comfortable with those who are like us, and why mirroring plays such a crucial role in the attraction process. It makes us seem safe to the other person, and safety is a fundamental need in all relationships, especially in the early stages of a connection. However, it's important to use mirroring in a way that feels natural and unforced. If you mirror her behavior too aggressively, or in a way that seems mechanical or insincere, it can have the opposite effect. Rather than creating connection, it can come across as manipulative or disingenuous. Mirroring must feel organic. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not, but about reflecting what's already happening in the moment. When done correctly, it's an effortless way to create connection, because you're simply amplifying the emotional and physical cues that are already present. Mirroring also plays a crucial role in establishing dominance and control in an interaction. A subtle form of mirroring can signal leadership and confidence. When you mirror her in a way that feels fluid and natural, it signals that you are fully engaged and in control of the interaction. However, this does not mean dominating her or trying to manipulate her behavior. It's about being attuned to her and letting the dynamic between the two of you evolve naturally. By mirroring her without overdoing it, you create a sense of balance and trust. She feels that she's not alone in the interaction, and that the energy between the two of you is mutual and aligned. There's also a strategic element to mirroring that's often overlooked. The timing of your mirroring is key. When you mirror someone at the right moment, it enhances the emotional impact of the interaction. If she's sharing something personal, and you mirror her emotional tone or body language at just the right time, it signals that you understand her deeply. This creates a bond that transcends words. She feels that you're emotionally in tune with her, and that's a connection that's hard to break. Moreover, mirroring isn't just about gaining attraction or creating rapport in the moment, it can also strengthen the relationship over time. The more you mirror her behavior, the more you create a psychological connection that deepens with each interaction. The emotional resonance grows, and you become someone who feels familiar, someone she can rely on to understand her on a deeper level. As a result, the attraction between the two of you becomes more profound, and the connection becomes harder to break. Mirroring, when used correctly, has the power to build a deep, emotional bond with someone. It allows you to connect on both a conscious and subconscious level, reinforcing the idea that you are in sync and that you understand each other. This technique, used with subtlety and precision, can lead to a bond that's hard to replicate through any other means. It taps into the very core of human interaction, making you not just a participant in the conversation, but a partner in the emotional and psychological experience. It's a way to build connection, foster attraction, and create a lasting, meaningful rapport. Emotional triggers are one of the most powerful tools in human connection, especially in relationships. They create a deep, visceral link between individuals, anchoring one person to the emotional state of the other. When you can learn to recognize and utilize emotional triggers, you can build a connection that is both intense and lasting. These triggers are not manipulative or deceptive. Instead, they work by tapping into universal emotional responses that we all experience. When used with genuine intent and understanding, emotional triggers can anchor you to her feelings in a way that fosters emotional depth and attachment. At the core of this idea is the fact that emotions are often tied to specific events, moments, or experiences. These experiences create lasting memories, and when certain cues are introduced, whether they're words, smells, sounds, or actions, they can bring those emotions flooding back to the surface. This process, known as anchoring, is the key to understanding how emotional triggers work. The simplest way to think of it is like a chain. Each chain is made up of links, with each link being a memory or emotional event. By tapping into these triggers, you essentially activate the chain and unlock the emotions attached to it. This can make her feel something deeply, without you having to constantly remind her of those feelings directly. In relationships, especially early on, emotions are often heightened. Everything feels fresh, new, and intense. These moments of intensity can be very powerful and have a lasting effect. For example, if you share a deeply meaningful moment with her, maybe it's a shared laugh, a heartfelt conversation, or even a brief touch, that moment creates an emotional imprint. Later, when you bring up something associated with that moment, you trigger the emotions connected to it. These emotional imprints act as a bridge between two people, creating a link that allows you to anchor yourself to her feelings. By strategically using these moments and cues, you can strengthen the bond between you and make her feel a stronger emotional pull toward you. The beauty of emotional triggers is that they don't just rely on words. Sometimes, it's not even about what you say, but how you make her feel. Think about the times when a simple glance, a shared experience, or even a specific touch made her feel understood or appreciated. These gestures or moments are subtle but have a profound emotional effect. By being mindful of these moments and repeating them, you're essentially anchoring yourself to those emotions. Over time, you become associated with the positive emotions she feels, creating a strong emotional connection that goes beyond superficial attraction. One powerful example of emotional triggers at play is through shared vulnerability. When you open up emotionally, you give her the opportunity to respond with empathy, care, and affection. These emotional exchanges create an anchor, a bond built on mutual understanding and emotional openness. When she sees that you're willing to be vulnerable and share your thoughts, fears, or desires, it triggers her empathy and a deeper connection. She starts to associate those emotions, trust, understanding, and intimacy, with your presence. Each time you share something personal with her, you deepen this anchor, making it more difficult for her to disconnect emotionally because your bond is tied to these shared, meaningful moments. Another key to emotional anchoring lies in timing. When you provide emotional support at a critical moment in her life, whether it's during a tough situation, a challenging time, or even when she's celebrating an achievement, you trigger strong feelings of gratitude and appreciation. These emotions, when anchored to you, will bring her back to the positive feelings she experienced during that time. She will associate you with the emotional security you provided. Later, when you remind her of that time or replicate certain aspects of it, those feelings resurface. Your role in her emotional life becomes significant, because you were the one who was there during an important moment, whether it was good or bad. The impact of emotional triggers isn't just limited to moments of vulnerability or emotional support. It's also tied to the way you make her feel valued and appreciated. One of the most effective emotional triggers is making her feel seen and heard. When she feels that you truly understand her, her desires, her fears, her quirks, she will form a deep emotional attachment to you. Simple gestures, like remembering the little things she mentions or showing interest in the things she cares about, trigger emotions of recognition and care. These triggers tell her that she matters, and that she's worth your time and attention. Every time you reinforce this feeling, you anchor yourself more deeply in her emotional world, building a stronger connection that can stand the test of time. These emotional triggers are also often associated with specific activities or experiences. Think about the power of music, scent, or even shared experiences in creating emotional bonds. For example, if you both have a special song that reminds you of a particular date or memory, every time that song plays, it will bring back the emotions tied to that moment. Similarly, if you create a series of small, memorable experiences together, whether it's cooking a meal, going on a trip, or even just having a deep conversation, you start to associate those moments with specific emotions. Over time, these triggers make her feel something every time she's reminded of those experiences. It's the emotional imprint you leave that creates a lasting bond. In relationships, emotions are fluid, they evolve, deepen, and grow. The power of emotional triggers lies in their ability to maintain and intensify that connection over time. By understanding the emotional cues that resonate with her, you can continue to reinforce the bond you share. It's about creating lasting, meaningful experiences that are anchored to the way she feels when she's with you. When you do this consistently and with genuine care, you become an integral part of her emotional world, someone who triggers positive, meaningful feelings every time she's with you. The emotional bond you create isn't just based on attraction, it's based on a deep, psychological connection that can weather any storm. And that connection, once anchored, is powerful enough to last a lifetime. The push-pull dynamic is one of the most effective psychological tools for creating tension in a relationship, and it plays a key role in building attraction. At its core, this dynamic involves alternating between behaviors that pull someone closer to you and those that push them away. This dance between proximity and distance, connection and detachment, is what creates an emotional roller coaster. It keeps things exciting, unpredictable, and deeply engaging. The push-pull dynamic works because it taps into some of the most basic psychological principles: the desire for connection, the fear of loss, and the thrill of uncertainty. When used correctly, it can foster a deep, emotional bond that is both thrilling and hard to resist. One of the main reasons the push-pull dynamic is so powerful is because it creates emotional tension. People naturally seek balance in relationships. They want to feel close to someone, but they also want to maintain their independence. The push-pull dynamic plays on these contradictory desires by creating moments of closeness followed by periods of distance. This back-and-forth interaction triggers feelings of longing and desire. When someone pulls away from us, there is a natural reaction to want to pull them back in. This creates an emotional investment. You begin to wonder why they're pulling away, what they're thinking, and what's going on in their lives. The uncertainty, paired with the desire to get closer, intensifies the emotional stakes of the relationship. The key to making the push-pull dynamic work is mastering the timing and intensity of each push and pull. If you push too hard and too often, the person may feel overwhelmed or smothered. On the other hand, if you pull away too much, it can create confusion, anxiety, or frustration. The goal is to strike a balance between showing interest and creating just enough distance to make the other person wonder. For example, when you give someone your full attention, make them feel seen and valued, it's a pull. This closeness makes them feel good and strengthens the emotional connection. But then, when you suddenly become slightly distant or unavailable, it creates a push. They begin to wonder why you're not as present, which triggers curiosity and a desire for your attention. This emotional tug-of-war keeps them engaged, as they constantly seek to bridge the gap and maintain that connection. The unpredictability that comes with the push-pull dynamic is also a key factor in its effectiveness. People are drawn to what is unpredictable and exciting. When things feel too easy, too constant, or too smooth, the emotional tension fades. But when you introduce a little uncertainty, when the emotional rhythm between the two of you is not always predictable, it sparks interest. They can't quite figure you out, and that uncertainty keeps them intrigued. They want to know what's going on, why you're distant at times, and what it will take to bring you closer. This tension creates a sense of anticipation, where every moment becomes more meaningful, because they never quite know where they stand. This leaves them constantly chasing after the emotional connection that feels both thrilling and elusive. The pull aspect of this dynamic is important because it makes the other person feel valued and understood. By showing interest, affection, and attention, you draw them closer, emotionally speaking. When you mirror their feelings, engage with them deeply, and show empathy, it pulls them in and makes them feel like you're on the same wavelength. These moments of emotional closeness make the other person feel good about being around you. But the push comes into play when you back off just enough to make them wonder if you feel the same way. This push is subtle. It's not about playing hard to get or deliberately making them feel unimportant. Instead, it's about creating a healthy distance that allows for emotional tension to build, making them appreciate the closeness when it does happen. Emotional tension is critical in pushing and pulling because it helps maintain the excitement and novelty in a relationship. If everything is too predictable, the emotional spark fades. The push-pull dynamic introduces emotional contrasts, times when they feel deeply connected to you, followed by moments when they feel the absence of your attention. This contrast is what keeps things fresh and engaging. The heart of the push-pull dynamic is not in the extremes of constant distance or closeness, but rather in the fluctuations between the two. These emotional shifts keep both parties on their toes, ensuring that the connection remains vibrant and full of potential. The beauty of this dynamic is that it doesn't require manipulation or gamesmanship to be effective. The push-pull principle is based on natural human behaviors and emotions. People crave connection but also desire independence. They want affection but also need space. By naturally shifting between showing interest and pulling away, you create a psychological dance that mimics the natural ebb and flow of human emotions. This keeps the connection emotionally charged, as the other person is always wondering what comes next. The tension created by the alternating pulls and pushes creates a psychological bond that is harder to break because it becomes tied to the emotional highs and lows that come with this dance. The push-pull dynamic also works because it challenges the status quo of a relationship. In any connection, if things become too comfortable or predictable, the emotional stakes lower. People begin to take each other for granted, and the intensity of the attraction fades. But the push-pull dynamic ensures that the connection is always in motion, always evolving. It challenges both people to keep their interest high, because neither knows exactly what's going to happen next. It's this unpredictability that makes the relationship feel exciting, intense, and full of possibility. The tension you create through the push-pull dynamic pushes both parties to constantly engage with each other, ensuring that the emotional bond remains strong and the desire to keep the relationship moving forward is always present. In the end, the push-pull dynamic isn't just about creating tension for tension's sake. It's about maintaining an emotional connection that feels real and exciting, while also allowing both people to grow and experience the relationship in a way that keeps them emotionally engaged. The beauty of this dynamic is that it keeps the attraction alive, it fosters curiosity, and it ensures that the emotional connection remains at the forefront of the relationship. The push and the pull are the rhythm that keeps the emotional dance going, making it a relationship that is both thrilling and meaningful. Self-possession is one of the most powerful traits you can cultivate if you want to signal high value in any interaction, especially in relationships. It's a quality that encompasses emotional control, confidence, and a deep sense of inner strength. When you possess self-possession, you exude an aura of stability and reliability. You become the kind of person others naturally gravitate toward because you don't rely on external validation to define your worth. This is a key characteristic of high-value individuals. They don't need constant affirmation from others, their confidence is inherent, and their value is not based on what others think of them. It's an internal state that is rooted in self-respect and emotional maturity. The ability to remain calm and composed under pressure is a hallmark of self-possession. When others are rattled or overly emotional, you maintain your cool. This does not mean being emotionless, but rather it's about having the ability to manage your emotions rather than being controlled by them. People are drawn to those who can stay grounded in any situation because it signals that you are in control of yourself and your environment. Self-possession is a subtle indicator of strength, as it shows you are not easily shaken by external events. Whether in the midst of a tense conversation, a stressful work situation, or an emotional encounter, being able to remain steady and composed is a clear signal that you possess high value. This inner calm makes you seem more attractive because it projects confidence and maturity, qualities that are universally admired and respected. This kind of self-control also extends to your behavior. Self-possession means you don't chase after validation or approval from others, and this is deeply attractive. When you act out of a sense of inner security and not from a place of neediness, you are seen as someone who is capable of standing on their own. This sense of independence signals high value because it conveys that you are not looking to others to complete you or define your worth. You already know your value, and you don't feel the need to prove it. People find this level of self-assurance magnetic because it shows that you have a strong sense of who you are, and that is a rare and highly desirable quality. Another aspect of self-possession is emotional regulation. High-value individuals don't let their emotions dictate their actions. They don't overreact to every situation or get caught up in drama. Instead, they take a step back, assess the situation rationally, and then respond in a measured way. This emotional intelligence is a key indicator of self-possession, as it shows that you can handle whatever life throws your way without losing your equilibrium. Emotional stability not only signals maturity but also creates a sense of safety and reliability in relationships. People are drawn to those who are emotionally steady because they know that they can trust them to handle difficult situations with grace and composure. This ability to regulate emotions is especially important in relationships, where the potential for conflict and misunderstandings is high. When you approach disagreements with a calm demeanor, without raising your voice or getting overly defensive, it signals that you are secure in yourself and your beliefs. It shows that you don't need to win every argument or have the last word to feel validated. Instead, you value communication, respect, and understanding. This kind of behavior signals a high level of emotional maturity, which is a key trait of high-value individuals. People are naturally attracted to those who can handle conflict with maturity and poise, as it reflects an inner strength that is both rare and desirable. Self-possession also signals high value by making you less reactive and more proactive. When you are in control of your emotions and reactions, you are able to think before you act. You are not driven by impulses or short-term desires. Instead, you make decisions based on your values, your goals, and your long-term vision. This ability to act with purpose and intention is a clear sign of high value, as it shows that you have a strong sense of direction and self-awareness. People are drawn to those who are focused and intentional because it suggests that they have a clear path and are not easily swayed by the opinions or desires of others. When you are self-possessed, you project an air of decisiveness and leadership, making you someone others want to follow and trust. Additionally, self-possession is closely tied to the concept of self-respect. High-value individuals treat themselves with the same care and respect they offer others. They don't compromise their values or principles for the sake of fitting in or seeking approval. This self-respect is evident in how they carry themselves, how they set boundaries, and how they interact with others. People can sense when someone values themselves because it shows in their actions and words. When you respect yourself, others are more likely to respect you. This creates a sense of mutual regard in relationships, which is essential for healthy, thriving connections. One of the most attractive aspects of self-possession is the way it impacts how you interact with others. When you are self-possessed, you are not seeking to control or manipulate those around you. You are secure enough in yourself that you don't need to assert dominance over others to feel validated. Instead, you engage with others from a place of equality and mutual respect. This balanced, confident demeanor is a major signal of high value because it demonstrates that you are comfortable in your own skin and do not need to rely on others to feel good about yourself. This creates an atmosphere of respect and trust, which is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. Ultimately, self-possession signals high value because it reflects a deep sense of confidence, emotional control, and self-respect. When you are self-possessed, you naturally draw others toward you because you radiate strength, stability, and maturity. People are attracted to those who are in control of themselves, who don't need external validation, and who are capable of maintaining their composure in the face of challenges. This inner strength and self-assurance create an aura of high value that others can't help but admire. By cultivating self-possession, you not only enhance your own sense of self-worth but also make yourself irresistibly attractive to those around you. To wrap up, mastering dark psychology isn't about manipulation or deceit, it's about understanding the powerful forces that shape human behavior and emotions. It's about leveraging those insights to create genuine connections and deepen attraction. By using tactics like mystery to spark intrigue, mirroring to build rapport, emotional triggers to anchor feelings, and the push-pull dynamic to keep her wanting more, you can elevate the intensity of your relationship. But the true power lies in your self-possession and the confidence you carry. When you're in control of yourself, emotionally and mentally, you naturally attract others. Remember, the key is never to use these tools for selfish gain, but to enhance mutual respect and foster a deeper, more meaningful connection. The real secret to making her want you lies not just in psychology, but in your ability to create an irresistible bond through emotional intelligence, confidence, and a sense of mystery that keeps her captivated.